I am actually also hugely excited for the next speakers who I've met several times and who are incredibly talented game developers. Yeah, so I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm going to let them come on. They're going to talk to us about gamification and how games are occupying the world. We have Sham and Jana from Sakura Games who are going to come on. Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
thanks for the
introduction.
And I won't remind people how young you were when I first met you. I'm going to let you talk, and I'll go hide away. And so over to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Oscar, and thank you, Steel Media, for this great opportunity. We really appreciate your support. And as always, Pocket Gamer events are absolutely amazing. Now we're going to share our screen with you so that we can show you our presentation. I'm Sham.
And I'm Jana.
We're the founders of Sakura Games, where we develop edutainment games to make education more enjoyable and interactive. So
today we're going to talk about gamification. In the beginning, we thought of gamification as a source to get inspiration from, by using real-life examples to create games. That led us to take a course from the University of Pennsylvania by Professor Kevin Warback, and thought that it would be a great idea to share this experience with you and talk about the use of gamification in social impact.
Well, what's gamification? Gamification is the application of typical elements of game playing and game design on real-life activities.
There are 4 categories of gamification, starting from the most powerful category, status, which will make someone look cool. Secondly, access, which has the same effect of content unlocking in games by getting access to something others don't have in the platform. The third category is power. When you do something, you're able to do something others can't because you did something unique. And the least powerful category is tangible rewards because it places expenses on the company.
Also, when talking about motivation, we should mention the self-determination theory. The motivation spectrum consists of 3 items. On the left is A motivation, which is simply you don't care. In the middle is the extrinsic. It consists of many stuff, as you can see. For example, the motive is your company, your job, or something that aligns with your goals, like working out. Even if you don't like it, you're doing it because it's good for you. And the most important item, which serves gamification the best, is the intrinsic. You're doing it because you like it, you enjoy doing it, and you want to do it.
To explain more, we'll give you an example, which is Nike Plus. Nike makes running shoes, so they want people to run more. And what they did, they developed a device implemented in their shoes that tracks your steps and connects to your phone.
Nike Plus has some functions, like, for example, telling you how far you've run, the fastest run you've ever had, or the longest one. You can also establish goals and challenges. Now, this seems a lot like a game. Overall, this makes the experience of running more game-like.
But you are still going out and running. This is not saying, go sit in front of your computer, play a running game, see how fast the avatar can run. No, you're actually going out and running, but the game structures around it help to encourage you and to make the whole experience of running feel more rewarding.
Actually, this is what we meant by the title we've chosen, How Games Are Occupying the World. Video games are not actually occupying the world. It's about the mentality, the intelligent mindset of creating games, how this business has been attracting people from all around the world to play video games. Gamification used the same mentality to grow businesses and to motivate people to do stuff. Well, this brings us to those stuff. Can they be good? Can gamification make the world a better place? Can it help people to improve the quality of their lives?
Sure, obviously, at some level, gamification is a tool for motivation. And that motivation can be encouraging you to buy a certain type of food or to fill out a survey.
But it could also motivate you to eat healthier, use less energy, learn a new skill, work, be more productive, and by this, you're becoming happier and better.
So gamification certainly can be used for social impact. There are some unique challenges and interesting opportunities for gamification in social impact that seem to work more effectively for these kinds of applications.
On the other hand, and as everything in the world, gamification also has disadvantages. The first issue is about motivation itself. It's about relatedness, being part of something bigger than yourself. Also, earning badges and different kinds of rewards maybe connects to addiction by directly raising the levels of dopamine in your brain. And instead of just doing the things for the purely intrinsic reason, you start doing stuff for the short-term rewards, for points, badges, achievements, or maybe for some tangible rewards. We also need to keep in mind the labor, which is playing labor. So when working on a gamified system for a company, the things employees have to do should be voluntary, not forced. You can't punish your employees for not committing to the gamified system because it may produce good results, but at the end, you're hurting them.
Budget and resources are also something to look out for. If you're going to do something, do it right. So many companies get dragged down into the rabbit hole on the losing end of build versus buy. Just because you have an IT department doesn't mean they have the time, expertise, or resources to create an effective, high-quality gamified system to supplement your business. Easily, 9 out of 10 companies should buy from an experienced company that has kept up with the latest ever-changing technology and can adapt your system for desktop, mobile, and tablet devices. Let's look at some examples of gamification for social impact. They are in 4 categories: health and wellness, which is what we talked about, like Nike Plus, energy and environment, education, and government. Let's start with energy and environment. The example here is Bdour, and this is a company that gives you reports on how much energy you use in your house and what the patterns are, which has a feedback mechanism that lets you see how you're doing. So this says, you use less energy than the average person, but 50% more than your neighbor. Bdour showed a 2 to 4% improvement in the community where it is applied. It may not sound like much, but that's enough to drive hundreds of millions of kilowatt hours of energy savings.
Another example here is Recycle Bank. Recycle Bank is a company based in New York City, encouraging recycling and environmentally friendly habits. Recycle Bank brings together people, businesses, and communities to achieve real-world impact by participating in household recycling and teaching how to live more sustainable lifestyles. Over 2 million people have signed up through Recycle Bank's reward program, which offers magazine subscription and discounts, among other goods in Recycle Bank's online shop.
They say the actions you make that have a positive impact on your home by saving energy, community by recycling, and the environment by conserving natural resources for points that you can use for rewards you choose. Those rewards come in a variety of types: products, discounts, and coupons from the leading brands. Or you can pay the good deed forward by donating your points to support the environmental education in schools.
Next up is education, which is in many ways right for gamification. Student motivation is a huge challenge. We already have scoring systems and reward systems in schools. Besides what Sakura does to improve education by entertainment games, supporting the curriculum, helping teachers to make the class enjoyable, gamification can be used along with it. One wonderful example is something called a quest to learn, which is an entire school built all around games and game structures as the curriculum.
Students learn by proposing, testing, playing with, and validating theories about the world. Feedback is immediate, and ongoing students receive ongoing feedback on their progress, learning, and assessment goals. Failure is reframed as iteration. Opportunities exist for students and teachers to learn through failure. In the first semester, Students learn to convert fractions into decimals in order to break a piece of code found in a library book, to read maps, create a location guide for a reality television series, and to create video tutorials for a group of fictional inventors.
An example of gamification in education is the way that education says, yes, we confirm you have these skills, which then are useful for an employer that wants to know what you've learned. Traditionally, we do this by giving you a diploma, but this has limitations. So we can use badges as a way of confirming. You get a badge for each assignment you complete.
The final category to look at is government. Government. How can the government use gamification? Well, there are several ways. One example is in Stockholm. A speed camera lottery encouraged safe driving by entering those who obeyed the speed limit into a lottery pool funded by drivers who had been fined for traffic violations. In 3 days, traffic speed decreased 22%.
There is also the China's social credit system. It's an initiative to build a database that monitors individuals and government behavior across the country in real time. According to the Chinese government, the system will use data to build a high-trust society where individuals and organizations follow the law by assigning social credit scores to each entity based on their behavior, which are translated into a variety of rewards and punishments.
China plans to rank all its citizens based on their social credit this year. People can be rewarded or punished according to their score, like private financial credit scores. A person's social score can move up and down according to their behavior. A system like that could be improved not to restrict our freedom and applied to make the world a better place.
So that's just a taste of some of the ways that gamification can be used as a tool for social impact.
Now, let's talk about the behaviorism of gamification. How can we create gamified system? We need to take a look at people's behavior. So here are some of the design thinking strategies we should work on. When making a gamified system, it should have a purpose. You have a real goal in mind. It should be human-centered. It's all about the overall experience we go through. It has to balance between analytical mind and creative side, which is the best way to get data. It's built around iterations, just like games. You make a prototype, test it, improve the first one, etc.
Also, we should learn about users or players. We should learn about 4 mentalities of people, starting with killers, the ones who are willing to win the game, stop others from playing, fight, and destroy. Secondly, socializers. They care about others, they like to chat, play, and collaborate. Third, explorers. They are the ones who press every key. They want to see what's possible within the game. The fourth kind is achievers. They love to collect badges and to win the game. Each one of us is more than one kind. Also, we need to keep them, all those kinds of players, in activity loops. It's easy. You give them motivation enough that makes them do an action, they do it, they give you feedback, you give them motivation again, and the circle continues.
We are going to cover more related topics about gamification on our YouTube channel. So we'll be more than happy if you come and visit. Here's our name, it's on the screen. And
that's it. As you can see, gamification for us was something we've never thought we'll be interested in, but now we do. So from here, we encourage you to follow your curiosity. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think are the ways and the fields gamification can be used to improve our lives? What do you think, Oscar?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. The issue, I mean, gamification is something that divides people really strongly. And I think you used a couple of examples there, particularly its use in China in terms of the social kind of reinforcement, which I think a lot of Western people find that quite complicated and, well, at least morally mixed, shall we say. But I mean, let's just give some people context here. Okay, so you were saying you did some courses on gamification at which university was it?
It was online by University of Pennsylvania.
And how old are you again?
I'm 14 now, and Sham is going to turn 18 this year.
So, I mean, I think that's an important thing. I mean, it puts most of us to shame. We're thinking about just how much you guys have already done the last 3 years, 4 years, however long it's been since I first met you. And you're now looking at this in terms of with a fresh pair of eyes about how do you use gamification in ways that are useful, valuable about education. And I think that power is what's interesting is, not assuming that we have to use the power of game design in ways which are detrimental, but actually we can use the power of game design to do positive things. And I think you use some great examples of that. What got you started in thinking about that? Because you were doing some, you were making games, you were learning Unity, you were doing your own stuff, and then you ended up doing this hyper casual stuff. Now you are doing gamification stuff. How has your journey come along? How's that happened?
Well, in the beginning, we missed concept the gamification. We thought it's the idea of seeing an act and then turning it to a game. It's just like the new hyper casual trend, cutting stuff. The normal idea of doing stuff in daily activities, making them into games. So this was our concept. This was the gamification concept in our minds. So we did our research, and then we discovered that it's totally different. And now we like the concept of gamification, the real one, the true one, so that we can apply it in collaboration with the games we develop in schools. I mean, there will be a video game, so a kid can learn through it. Also, there would be a gamified system that takes the kid in a journey inside his class, so he can. This will make the experience more inspiring and more motivating, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's really the crux of it. So, I mean, whatever you think about the word gamification, the way it's been misused, the reality is that game design is an incredibly powerful learning exercise, and you can go back to Rafe Koster's book and to read that's not something we've been thinking about for a long time. And to me, when I'm talking to, for example, a bunch of charities that I've been talking to recently, I'm trying to get them to think about the way that they work in general in the way that I think about a game mechanic. So the start condition, so where are we? The challenge, what are we trying to achieve? The resolution, how do we do it? And the one thing that they always forget to do is the reward. And the reward is what's in it for that person. And the ability to be able to think about, any kind of human endeavor in those 4 steps, I think is incredibly powerful. And to me, that's what gamification should be about, which is how do we use positive reinforcement or at least dilemma-based responses to be able to help provide people with a great motivation to continue doing the right things, whatever they are. But I suppose what the issue is, who decides what's the good thing to do? So have you had that problem? I mean, it sounds like with education, it's a pretty straightforward thing. Do you think that's, by helping kids and working on education, has that made it easier for you to look at this side?
Yes, of course. Well, one wonderful thought is when we talk about future. I think the example you want to talk about, maybe we can, if we just imagine how our future would be with gamification applied into it. So you wake up in the morning, you need to brush your teeth.
Toothbrush, yeah.
Yes, the toothbrush company wants to sell more toothbrushes for its revenue. So they tell you whenever you brush more, you'll get more points, and those points will turn into coupons and then discounts on our products. Well, all our future activities may be directly connected to gamification. Even now, I've learned Japanese. I've learned hiragana, writing style, only with the application that tells me that, yay, bravo, you're planting trees, you're planting flowers, continue doing so. By this, I've learned a whole language. Imagine how powerful this is, especially because I was younger, so the motive was really stronger. So
Japanese is hard. And here we go. I mean, I spent 2 years trying to learn Japanese and failed abysmally. So I know exactly the pain of that process. But I mean, that's actually an interesting problem, though, because in the context of learning Japanese, that's amazing. I used a Rosetta Stone very effectively, and I actually had some Japanese class. I was at Sony. Sony paid for Japanese lessons for us, which is great. So, Hajime Mashita, Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Although it's not true because we met before. But the point being for me is that that's great in the context of something where I've chosen to act. I think for a lot of people, there's a fear where that choice is taken away from us. And for example, we buy a toothbrush and it tells us that we aren't being good enough. I mean, I think one of the things that I've learned was some work we did with a psychologist who, on a game based around the lives of an orangutan. I think I mentioned it earlier on, and putting your experiencing what it's like to be a researcher. And so creating narratives which allow you to see what it's like to experience the life of that researcher and have a story about their lives, not about necessarily just the animal, fee or anything, but actually about their daily activity in the camp, the conversations they have, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, whatever it is, and the falling outs and the family issues and all of those, the things that are personal to those people. Bring that to life rather than feeling like you're being told what to do. And I'm wondering if that's a Western European kind of mindset or American mindset, or whether there's a genuine human reaction about what we want to see in terms of being told what to do versus wanting to explore what to do. Do you have any thoughts?
This is so true. The idea you talked about is absolutely true. And this is the fear in these days that, maybe they will force us to take medicine just to get over this pandemic, and maybe it will control us. It's a really negotiable thing. Talking about this idea, in the beginning, we introduced games to schools by this. A kid won't be happy if he was forced to play a game. But at the end, playing a game is much more easier than solving homework. So this is the way. It's at the end your choice, but they make it a better choice for you so that you choose it.
Exactly.
Gamification, if designed right, can enhance the intrinsic motive you have. So it's not going to control you, but it's going to motivate you to do the things. It's going to make the experience of doing things feel better, so you won't feel forced to do it.
And at the end, we're forced to do many things we don't think we're forced to do. I mean, doing an update for your laptop, you're forced to do it.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the point, isn't it? What we're talking about here is creating better experiences. And where we have a goal, we have an ambition, we can do that in a way that is positive, engaging, and reinforcing. And if we do that with authenticity, then we have a powerful tool through game design to do that. And I think that's an incredible power. And obviously, as they say, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So true, yes.
So any last thoughts you'd give to people who, are trying to make games? I mean, obviously, you've had a kind of a meteoric rise since, when I first met you, and you've continued to go through. You're still incredibly young. What is your next ambition, and what advice would you give to other people who want to follow what you're trying to do?
Well, we'll stay working and developing games. It's our passion in the end and in the beginning. And learning new stuff won't just take this opportunity. It will just increase it and make it richer. always follow your passion, just be ambitious, and do what do you think it's good for you. Always try new things so that you can discover new possibilities and new stuff you'll be interested in, you won't ever thought that you will be. And that's it.
That's it. No, absolutely. And again, I think it's one of the great pleasures of doing Pocket Gamer Jordan and the Jordan Games week before that. You know, we're meeting folks like yourselves and seeing the incredible passion of game developers in Jordan and in the Middle East in general, you know, has been incredibly eye-opening for me, because we kind of make assumptions and we forget that actually everybody loves games. Everybody who can make games, and everybody, you know, with the right tools can do incredible stuff. And thank you guys again for doing a great job.
Thank you.